What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Connected by Creatures. We have an awesome pair of guests tonight. We have Tom and Casey from Atypical Origins. Zach, nice to see you. Tom, Casey, nice to see you guys. How's it been going?
Sounds pretty good.
Not too bad.
Glad to hear it. What's up, everybody?
Well, I'm going to be the first one to say that my week hasn't been going very well. And I'm not going to speak for Zach, but I know Zach's been having a couple issues this week too.
Us too.
Man. And exactly. And that's what I was going to kind of bring up right at first. You know, like all three of us have had a couple conversations this week. I know I've talked to you guys and, Zach and I talk every day. And this week's kind of been rough, man. And the thing that I said to Tom and Casey earlier in the week, I was like, we just got to try to stay positive and just keep marching through all the bullshit.
Exactly.
And, so I'm thankful that you guys are here. I'm thankful that, me and Zach can be here right now. So, again, I appreciate you guys coming on right now.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I
Yes.
was worried. Bradley and I literally had that conversation. I was dealing with some shit, and he was dealing with some shit. And he's like, Tom and Casey are having kind of a rough week too. And I was like, fuck, I hope we can all use this at, platform as like a way to just like set that shit aside for a minute. Like I was late even getting in here, and Bradley's like, hey man, are you good? Like, you getting on this shit? Like, what's going on? Again, I don't mean for any of us to like start this off negatively, because again, my whole thing was like I wanted this to be like the highlight of all our weeks and just kind of bring us all up. And so yeah, I know that's definitely where it's gonna head. I'm already feeling better just talking to you guys. So
anyways,
Yeah, today's turned around a little bit. We got the car fixed because we blew a turbo on the way down here.
yeah, I saw. I was gonna ask you guys about that. I saw a picture posted of a Ford factory turbo, and you guys saying something about car parts. So I was kind of curious what you guys had going on. I'm a car guy, so
Yeah, we were about 50 miles from her dad's, and we stopped to there was a rollover on 95.
yeah,
And there was no EMS or fire there, so we stopped, make sure everybody was all right, and parked the car on the side of the road, turned it off, dealt with that guy and fire and EMS when they got there. We went to leave, turned the car on, went to get on the highway, and I was like, oh no, like there's not power.
something's
like,
wrong. Yeah,
something's
yeah.
wrong. Your turbo's bad again.
Man,
So
this isn't the first time this
ridiculous.
we replaced the other turbo in October, so this was not a new.
What car do you guys drive?
I have the Ford Explorer Sport.
Okay, gotcha. Is that the twin turbo V6?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Had to have
Interesting.
my mom mobile.
Yeah, no, but the thing is that people think they're just mobiles, but those EcoBoost motors you can make some
quick.
pretty crazy power. But yeah, it comes with the downsides. Unfortunately, every turbocharged vehicle, you roll the dice. So,
but I went from having we both went from having some really cool, quick cars.
Yeah.
Before kids, and then so this was kind of like my
bridge the gap.
Yeah,
best of both worlds kind of deal. No, I got it. So if you would elaborate a little bit, because I know a little bit, but for those that don't know, you guys both kind of have a little bit of a background in like that, medical, like being able to help people in those emergency situations, things like that. Because obviously you mentioned that you guys stopped and nobody had no EMS, no anything, nobody had shown up yet. So you guys were able to kind of help out.
Yeah. So I am a nurse, and Tom is a CO. He's been a volunteer firefighter forever, or was forever ago, but
And military.
And military background.
Right.
So.
Got it.
Yeah.
Oh, what type of nurse are you? What type of nursing do you do?
At the moment, I'm a med surg nurse.
Oh, okay.
Work on.
I got you.
It's no fun.
Yeah.
Waiting to hear back on my application and my ED.
Stop saying ED. Everybody doesn't call it
emergency room position that I applied for.
Okay.
Everybody else in the world, ED is erectile dysfunction, honey.
Yeah, I was gonna say they make a pill for that.
Yeah, that's problem solved. You don't have to wait to hear back or anything. It's just this
No.
one little blue pill. You're good to go.
And
So-
I don't know why, but there's been several times on this podcast on the show, I know a fella, you know, and I just continue to say that. So,
dude, so I apologize. I have to tell this story because it's relevant,
Yeah,
especially based on what you just said, Bradley. So this guy that I met, I'm not going to get specific as to who he is because people will quickly figure out. But this guy that I met, first time I'm meeting him, and we're hanging out, chit chatting, and he finds out I'm a bartender, and he's like, "Oh man," he's like, "Blah blah." He's like, "Yeah, you know, he's in an industry that kind of has like similar, like we just know a lot of people that do a lot of different things." And he's like, "Dude," he's like, do you know, like, you know, so you must know like a lot of drug dealers." I'm like, "Well, I mean, like in the business, like, I have dealings with like I interact with these people, but I don't know them. Like I don't, you know, I don't partake, you know." And he's like, "Well, listen," he's like, "if you know somebody that can get me like Viagra without a prescription," he's like, "I would really appreciate it." And I'm like, that's not where I thought this conversation was going. Like, yeah, so you know a guy, you know.
Something.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, exactly. I'm like, I thought that's where like he was gonna try to like ask me for some connect or something real weird. But then he goes like way off the rails, and he's like, "No, man, you gotta understand." He's like, "You know, I'm in my 50s now." He's like, "You know, my wife, like, she's pretty young, like she's, you know, in her mid-20s." He's like, "Man, I'm struggling to keep up. Like she's wanting this 2, 3," and I'm just like, "Dude, I don't need to hear anymore. I don't know that guy, and if I did, I would not be the guy to talk to about this kind of thing. Like, I don't know how."
Well, once again, I know a fella.
Yeah, exactly. That, right? So, oh man, so yeah, that was interesting. That whole interaction. I'm still good friends with the guy. So if he hears this, hey, I apologize, man. It's nothing personal, but that was super awkward. I think you can own up to that yourself.
Tom, Kathleen says, "Tom, your boyfriend won't shut up until I type this. Mojave is just an additive."
Fake news.
Fake news. Fake news. Oh,
Love
man.
it.
So, yeah, let's just kind of jump into reptiles just for a minute. If you guys haven't seen, Zach and I don't really spend a lot of time on reptiles on here. We like to get to know people. We like to, you know, there's so many live streams that go on and so many podcasts that go on that we'll just that people sit and talk about the Mojave gene or this gene or that gene, and like, you know, we're kind of more into finding out the story behind people and getting to know people a little bit. And, you know, just, it doesn't have to be all reptiles because we are connected by the creatures, but that's not all we are. You know, everybody has other things going on.
Yeah, very few of our lives ever revolve actually around reptiles. Zach knows.
Yeah.
Right.
For sure.
But just getting into, like, I know that you know, a little bit of history, you guys had kept some pet snakes before and then got out of them, and then you know, kind of TJ kind of got you guys back into them. Am I correct with that?
Yep.
Yes, he did.
Okay. And it's funny because that's you know, having a kid that's into reptiles as well is a huge thing to me, because like my daughter, you know, she loves all animals, and I feel like that's something that you guys and, you know, Katie and I could kind of see the same thing on it. It's pretty interesting when, you know, you have a kid that starts telling you a lot of stuff and it's somewhere that you've been interested before, you know, and like then it just kind of brings all that back to you. And so I kind of want you guys to touch on, you know, kind of the mindset with that when TJ was talking, you know, when getting into these things that you guys have been interested in before.
So for the have a pet aspect, you know, we didn't really mind. We were hesitant to get one before we actually got back in like we are now. About 2 years prior to that, we had bought an Orange Dream female just from Petco. We had her for probably, I want to say about 8 months. She thinks it's shorter, so maybe 5 to 8 months, somewhere in there. And she got compacted and she passed. So that kind of really kind of like,
it did. Kind
of like put a damper on it, you know. And we put off, and TJ kept saying, "Oh, can we get another ball python?" And we kept putting it off. And then finally, we again actually from Petco. But they had a really nice albino female there. I don't know, she was like maybe like 125 grams or so.
Yeah.
She was pretty. We were like, all right, let's do
I really
it.
liked her.
Yeah, when Casey wants something, she generally gets it. Obviously TJ loved it, so we were like, all right, we got it. And then about 2 weeks later, we were on vacation down here, and Casey decided that we should all go to Repticon. So we went to Repticon and talked with some of the breeders there, because that was what TJ kept talking about as well, was breeding. So we were talking to some of the breeders there because we kept saying, no, absolutely not. I know, absolutely not. And we kind of got sold on it. And so we came home with another four snakes from Repticon. And that was like mid-September, I guess, of 19.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then from there, it just kept growing and growing and growing. I think by the end of December of 2019, I think we probably had between probably around 15.
I was just gonna say about 15.
And then by
because March is when
March, let's go to March. By March, we probably had about 60.
Holy cow!
Wow.
That's how you do it. That's you know.
And then now we have,
from 2 to 6 to 60.
Yeah.
Now we have I think we have 80 at home. There's a couple that are coming to us. Actually, well, I should say TJ.
No, we have 79 at home.
Okay.
I just did the Husbandry Pro.
We have 79 ball pythons. We have one boa, just a Colombian red tail, nothing.
Yeah.
No,
special.
79 snakes altogether.
Oh, 79 altogether. So
Yes.
okay.
Oh, okay.
So 77 ball
Holy
pythons.
cow!
And then TJ's got a few coming.
I think TJ's got like 3 coming.
Yeah, 3 coming soon, and then he's got like another I think 3 that'll be coming later in the year after people get clutches and stuff. So he really hit a home run this year.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
That epic live that he did, a few weeks ago.
Man, that thing was insane, guys. Like that, I've never, I've been around for a while and like just really started to put myself out there, like make myself.
Mm-hmm.
But I've been around reptiles my entire life, and I've kept up with people. I've never seen anything like that. Like that was insane.
Yeah, no.
I mean, I was kind of like mind blown myself. I mean, again, we've done lives with some big names and stuff, but the fact that just person after person after person just kept hopping in there with them.
I say poor TJ, but oh my gosh, like his mind was so blown he could barely even talk. and me, I'm sitting next to him like bawling my eyes out because this was just like it was.
Yeah, and I
so
mean,
great.
even still, like he posts something from when we were at Nerd, and Rob reshares it on his profile and shares it on the Nerd page, and he's like mind blown. Dad, did you see? I'm like, yeah, TJ seen. I get notifications.
I mean, I've never met you guys. I've never met TJ, and like Katie kept looking over me. She's like, Bradley, what's wrong with you? Because like I was tearing up constantly, like because it was emotional to me. Because like I was that kid, if I would have had that experience, I would have went through the exact same emotions that he was. Shit, I still go through them now as an adult, and like there was at one point, and I think it was like right around when MJ came on, like I made a comment, and he, TJ was like wrapped around reptiles, like that's. I was like, TJ's just burnt at this point, like he's just mentally done. So much emotion, and it was just funny to see that progression because you knew he was still excited to be talking to all these, but like his brain was just
overstimulated.
Complete
it's
overstimulation.
Like, this can't get any better. There's no way.
Yeah, no.
And then it did, and it's just like, all right, I'm checked out. I can't even handle it.
He definitely checked out like halfway through that. He was just like too much excitement.
No, it was a beautiful thing to watch, and that's what the hobby is all about at the end of the day. And I love that aspect of it, and Bradley and I preach it all the time.
Favorite things about this hobby is that just everybody is well, for the most part, everybody is so supportive and welcoming, and
The vast majority.
yes,
There's probably 2% that suck, and those people don't even matter.
yeah.
Yep. Yeah,
So
and
no, it's a beautiful thing.
we can't complain at all. I mean, we've been welcomed into so many circles. You know, we're nobodies. We've had 2 clutches, you know, like, and they were basic clutches, you know.
So
We had,
far,
a fire leopard to a fire pairing, and a Woma to a pastel lesser pairing, and you know.
there's nothing wrong with that though. Like
Exactly.
that's get your
No.
feet wet. That's learning. Like
It is.
I said this on another live not that long ago. Like I can't imagine some people that I know that are getting into this, like my buddy Paco Miranda, like his first clutch is like a freaking like 7 gene clown pairing, you know, and I'm like, I don't
insane.
want that for my first eggs, you know.
No,
like,
I'm
happy for him and he's going to be very successful, but I don't have the nerves to handle, you know, that. You know, I know how I was with my first clutch as it was, so I can't imagine, you know, pairing like that. So no, like you at the end of the day, you guys are doing it the right way, and I'm excited for you guys.
Yeah, no, it was good. Last season was definitely a good a learning experience for us and TJ, and actually all of the kids, because
Harley cut
they,
eggs. You know,
Yeah. And that's the other
Oh.
thing, is it makes it's just less stress for everybody. Like you have no concerns about the kids being
you cut
involved.
like 4 eggs because you kept wanting to cut them, liar. Yeah. Want to say hi?
Yeah.
Come up, say hi.
You can come say hi. Quick. Say hi.
Yeah.
Hey.
Hey.
I didn't say get in here.
Oh,
So
she's
you can
comfy
say
now.
hi.
You're done for.
Yeah,
I know.
and to me, man, that's what it's about. Like, to tell you guys probably the highlight of my week, because like I said, it's been a pretty rough week for me. But I got home from work, and there's a basketball goal I live in a cul-de-sac. And there's a basketball goal right in the by my house, and Lainey's not interested in basketball whatsoever. Like, Lainey wants to read books. She wants to have a debate on analytical geometry. You know, like Lainey wants to. She's not interested in sports whatsoever. Like, she's a very academic minded child. And the kids were playing basketball outside, and I was like, "Hey, y'all want to see something cool?" And they were like, "Sure." So I go inside and I bring out a Burmese python, and like, you know, there was probably 9-10 kids, and like just seeing their eyes light up, and you know, even the kid that was completely scared, he was like, it was funny because the one that was the most scared was the one who had the most knowledge about it, and it was because he was like, I watched this guy named Brian Barczyk. I was like, yeah, I know Brian. I was like, we can call Brian right now if you want to, and he was like, you know him? And I was like, yeah, man, like, I know him. And he was like, that's awesome. He was like, but I'm still not touching that snake. But it was just, it's, I wound up coming inside. Katie left to go to the store. And when she got back from the store, I was still switching out snakes, you know, going outside, showing these kids these different animals. And I just, you know, seeing her right there, like, I love it. Like, I love seeing kids that are excited about, because without them, there's no future in this.
Logan wants to say hi now too.
That's fine.
That's
hey,
perfectly.
Logan.
What's going on, man?
TJ's probably sleeping.
Oh, she's just out, like catching flies out.
Yeah, it sounds. Yeah, you guys have had a long one. A lot of traveling, man, exhausts you. You know, like when I drive, you know, when I make a long drive like that, you know, I'm done for like at least a full day. Let alone, you know, kids. I mean,
Harley. I'm trying to hold the iPad.
This was the most relaxing trip down here that I've had.
That's good, man. Well, and the destination's wonderful.
But...
Yeah. Aside from that,
he slept most of the way.
Yep.
And then when he did drive, he broke the car.
Well, you know, see, it's all your fault. Tom.
There's the truth coming out.
Yep,
when he drove, he broke the car.
That's how you know you're married.
No doubt.
No, I love it. So you guys have had 2 clutches. You know, what are y'all's thoughts on the industry, on your plans for the future? Like, obviously something clicked in you guys' brain to go from, 2 snakes that you bought at a Petco, PetSmart, whatever, to you picked up 4 more at a reptile show. Like, what was that thought process? What changed? Because obviously something did.
For me, it was really I think more about like the kids with it. Now our youngest son Logan is autistic, so I'm constantly thinking about, how is Logan going to do when he is older and has to get a job and
Sure.
has to make a living.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
And it makes me very nervous. So one of my big reasons for going as big as we have, or I guess so fast, so quick here, is because I'd really like the boys to be able to have their own business.
Yeah.
Have something that they really enjoy to do.
No, that makes a lot of sense. I think I've heard you guys kind of mention that before, but I just wanted you to kind of reiterate it and get into the grit of it, and that makes all the sense in the world. And especially, I think that's the great thing is that no matter what animals you guys start with right now, like literally no matter what they are, powerhouses or even just 2 gene females, if you've got 80 of them over the next 5 years, I mean, you guys can build a tremendous collection. And also, I think you guys can probably attest to this from the 2 clutches you had. Those simple animals sell very well and easily, and no, you know what I mean? Because not everybody has that $1,000 burning a hole in their pocket, but it's easy to spend a couple $100, $300 on an animal.
Yeah.
To build towards something, and we're all kind of doing that. So no, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it's exciting to think of where you guys will be when it's to the point that they are ready to take over, and it might not even be ball pythons anymore, right? Like we don't know what the next big thing is or where this industry is headed.
No, we don't know,
but it's definitely headed up.
That's for sure. Well, I figure we've got what, 5 years until TJ's 18, and the things that we can do in those 5 years, or he can do in those 5 years, is quite a bit. And Logan's got a couple more. Okay.
I think
I'm out.
No, I think that's beautiful that you guys are looking ahead for your boys. And honestly, like, just I'm such a adamant person that the children are the future of this hobby, like, because we can sit and we can do all this, and we can go to Tinley's and we can go to Arlington's, and like the majority of the money that you see at those big shows like that are people that are trading, people that are swapping with each other. Like big breeders go to buy big breeder animals, and that's why I'm a firm believer in keeping breeding simple stuff. Because like if you go to your local shows, you're gonna have a few people that are gonna be able to and have the means and the ability to purchase 5, 6, 7 gene recessive animals. But that little girl right there comes in with her dad that knows nothing about ball pythons. That's a $100, $250 snake that she can go home with, that they can afford, and that's, I love that. Like, I love simple gene, dual gene animals. And don't get me wrong, I wish that I was breeding the same stuff that Kabilka's breeding and stuff, but at the same time, there's a market and a need for simplicity.
Oh yeah, I mean, and that's the thing with like the ball python or the reptile community. You can go from having those people that want or need those lower end animals, and then all the way up to those people that want to spend tens of thousands of dollars on an animal,
on the right animal.
On that right animal. Like we we started with our first 5 snakes were an albino, a GHI, a Mojave, and then 2 Enchies.
An orange dream Enchie.
An orange dream Enchie and a regular Enchie.
Those are all solid genes, though, to have.
They are. I mean, they're all
especially
things
the Mojave.
that you...
Yeah, I like Mojave. I like OD. I like Enchie. Yeah, like the next animal that I want for my ultramel project is if I could get it in one animal, it would be great. I would love to have blackhead, Enchi, and OD.
That's awesome.
With het ultramel. So those are like, yeah, my major targets that I don't have currently. I have some entry stuff, but not with the het ultramel already. So I'm trying to kind of skip a couple years if I can, and avoid having to make it myself, because I'm sure somebody out there's making that stuff. So
yeah, I think our biggest thing this year is probably our Batman pairings.
okay.
Which again, I mean, we can have some really wild stuff with it. And then we should be doing a breeder loan for to make some double het sunset clowns.
Oh wow.
So
yeah, you're going big right there.
Yeah, just kind of worked out. Kind of, the buddy was picking up a visual sunset male, and I didn't know what I was going to do with my Mojave clown female, and I was like, hey, now I know.
Yeah.
I'm sending her to you, and you're going to put her to your male.
That's huge. And stuff like that is really major. If you've got those relationships with people that you can trust, that you can work with. Yeah, like I don't think it gets talked about a lot in the industry, but I think mostly in a negative way. People are like, oh, don't do breeding loans. They're terrible. They never work out. Somebody always gets screwed. Somebody always ends up upset. And again, I'm not saying that stuff doesn't happen. I mean, it definitely does. For anybody listening, be careful, who you do those things with. Don't just, jump into stuff like that with anybody. But on the occasion that you can do stuff like that or make trades for animals and things, man, can it just really accelerate things for everyone involved.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you got to just look at it, is it somebody you let loan your car to?
Yeah.
Kind of the same concept.
Yeah, it absolutely is. It absolutely is. Yeah. I go ahead.
I was gonna say I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it with just anyone, but there's it's actually a growing number of people that I would definitely send animals to do breeder loans with.
Sure.
But there's still people I wouldn't too. So
yeah, man, and I think that a lot of the negative connotation that you hear about, and I think we hear about those from people that are on a much larger scale than most of the people that we're dealing with. Like,
sure.
If you're on this huge $1 million scale and you're doing these breeder loans and it becomes something lopsided, I can see where there's negative connotation to that. But like, you've got a friend that you're solid with, that and we're going to do this pairing, and we've already worked it all out. I don't see an issue with that at all. If you guys look in the comments later on, or Madonna De Luca, her husband and her, we do breeding loans with them. I actually have one of their GHIs at my house right now, and we've never had any issues and nothing like that. But I don't see a problem with breeding loans.
Yeah,
no, I think it's great. And it can work out really well. And even beyond breeding loans, trades and stuff. I recently did a trade with somebody who I became very close with over the last couple of years in the hobby, and I feel like both of us obviously were super satisfied with the animals that we're getting, and it helped me tremendously with the project that I'm working, and it he felt the same way. He's like, man, like, this is really like something I wanted for this particular direction I'm trying to head. And so stuff like that, same thing, where I didn't have to worry about trying to find a customer for that animal, because the finances are whatever at the end of the day, because any money I would have gotten for that animal would have just been invested in other animals or equipment or whatever. And so anytime I can we can make trades that are advantageous for both parties, it's always a good thing. So yeah, I think it's there's a line to be towed there, for sure, but it can definitely be helpful.
Yeah, I mean, we've done, well, we've talked about doing the breeder loans with people.
Yeah.
And then a lot of the animals that we do have now, that we've traded.
Yeah.
And it's worked out absolutely wonderful.
Absolutely. So you guys have had 2 clutches so far. You've got almost 80 animals at this point. How many clutches do you guys think you're going to have this year? Is this the year where you guys are going to finally have a ton of females ramped up and ready to go, or are you looking at maybe next year?
So
I mean, I know that's hard to judge.
depending on, eating and growth and stuff,
Sure.
we should have between 15 and 25 clutches this year,
Man.
hopefully.
That's
So,
awesome.
yeah, it's going to be a big jump. And
That's not a small number. Like, that's
No,
a
it's
lot of
not.
animals.
no,
Like people don't realize that, when you start talking 20 clutches, that's a lot of animals. Like, that's a lot of babies.
Yep. Even in our just our 2 clutches that we had last year, we ended up with
14.
That's what I was gonna say.
snakes.
If you get 20 clutches, if you get 20 clutches, you're easily talking over 100 animals.
Mhm.
Just
Yeah,
like
I mean,
that.
worse, say you just get 6
And,
eggs
from
each
you
clutch.
just more than
That's
double,
120
your
babies.
collection.
That's
you
you
more
just
than
doubled your
collection
Exactly.
overnight.
Yep.
And luckily on that end, they should be spaced out, throughout the season.
Yeah. I was gonna ask.
Although I will say, like, again, our pastel Batman female, I didn't expect her to be ready for another till like summertime, and she's pushing it now. She's bull wrapping. She's like 1,300 grams. I'm like, shit, like you're a little too soon. Like,
wanting to go off food, but that's just it.
And,
Hey, when the signs are there, the signs are there.
And this might catch some. I might catch some shit for this, but there's nobody running around Africa with a set of scales. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
I mean, nature happens when it's ready to go. It's ready to go.
Well, and even guys like Billy will tell you, he's like, listen, if I got a female that's 2 years old, 2.5 years old, and she's say 1,000 grams even, and she goes off food, that 1,000 gram wall, he's like, I'll breed her and see. And guess what? He's like, 9 times out of 10, she's going to start slamming rats. She's going to put on 500, 600, 700 grams out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Because that's their nature. That's what they're doing. They're ready. They're ready to go. And so, again, just you let nature take its course. You don't ever push anything. If you got a female that's 1,000 grams and she's still eating, well, obviously you don't breed her. The signs aren't there. But if the signs are there, you just let nature take its course and do its thing. You just got to be smart about it. So no, I agree with that.
Yeah, we don't necessarily disagree. We definitely watch our females for what they're doing.
Sure.
And go with that accordingly. I just the other day before we left, I was counting, like, right now we have like 13 females that we've paired so far this season. So
yeah, that's exciting.
Yep.
So what does that look like for you guys? So again, I'm just using myself as an example, and this may be a selfish question, or maybe just a relevant question, I guess, for people that are growing in this hobby. Going from somebody that produced a couple clutches, 2 clutches last year. What does you guys laying the groundwork for that increase in production look like? In terms of, have you guys already bought a ton of racks? Do you already have a baby rack that's empty, waiting and ready? What kind of an incubator setup are you in? You know what I mean? Like, because obviously we know, like, there's got to be that infrastructure laid out before that stuff happens. So I'm just kind of curious, because I'm running that ragged edge right now where I'm going to run out of room really quick if I don't get another rack soon.
Yeah, we definitely need some more rack space. I think now we probably have
for it.
We probably have, I would say, probably about 30 hatchling hatchling tubs that are empty.
Sure.
But that's definitely on the list. Over the next few months is some more rack space. I got 2 racks, 2 adult racks. Nothing crazy. I want to say 15 tubs that I just got to run heat tape.
Yeah.
And then I got to upgrade some animals to bigger tubs. I just haven't felt like putting heat tape in yet.
It's a whole process, and it's trying to make sure.
All I'm gonna say is it.
He's just waiting for
trying to make sure it's safe and secure and all. That's why I almost feel like it's like a stressful question to ask. Like, so are you guys like ready for this? And I didn't mean it in that way. I'm just like, I like to bring that up because I feel like some people that maybe are listening to this, it'll be helpful information for them.
No, yeah,
to kind of hear
completely, because there's definitely a lot that goes into having 100 extra animals.
Yeah.
And then incubating those clutches. So our incubator right now is a little on the small side, but we think that with how our clutches should be spaced out, we should be okay.
Yeah.
But we are prepared. If we do need to, then we get another incubator.
Yeah.
But upgrading was definitely on our list for the next couple year plan.
Yeah. I just always like to kind of ask about the infrastructure and the planning side, because I feel like a lot of people, we don't talk about it enough, like that side of things. It's like, oh man, I could go out and spend $1,000 right now on another female that's really important and it would be great addition to my project. But the reality is what I should spend $1,000 on is like 2 more of the racks that you see behind me and just have them ready and waiting in the wings.
Yeah.
And that is far more valuable to me, in the long run for sure.
Or you can do like I'm doing.
Uh-oh. We lost Bradley. Bradley, your internet connection cut out. No, it's not.
No, I immediately looked over at Zach and seen that he wasn't frozen.
Yeah.
He was good.
Bradley will be back with us here in a minute. I don't know if he was going to say he's building. I know that he just started producing his own rats, which that's cool. What do you guys do for rats right now?
That's another end to it too. Is with all of these babies that we're gonna have this year, right now I think I have I have about 12 breeder colonies of rats.
Okay.
We have
12.
6, and a 5.
Okay, so I have like 15.
Okay.
15 colonies that we're breeding, and then I'm probably gonna have to get another rat rack and some more breeding colonies so that we can feed all of our animals. So that's another aspect too.
And do you guys have frozen thawed like as a backup? Were you using frozen thawed previously and you switched to live? Like what did that look like?
So we kind of didn't mind frozen thawed, but we got some frozen rats, and we fed our animals, and one of them like 3 days later regurged, and a week later after that died.
Wow.
And
we're just not crazy about the frozen thawed thing, just because for us it's like we don't know where they've been, how they've been handled, if they've been thawed and refrozen, like how has shipping been. There's a lot of questions for us with that. So we would prefer to breed our own and feed live.
Even before we were breeding our own rats, like when we were buying rats, our live rats, when we started producing our own rats, the growth we seen in our animals was so much better too.
Yeah.
And, I just like it better. I know what the rats are eating. I know what they're drinking. Yep. For me, I feel more comfortable because again, especially now, I mean, I've got a lot more valuable animals than I did a year ago.
Yeah. Well, and especially having as many you guys have now. I mean, when it's one thing to have 5 snakes and you buy frozen thawed and you make an order that's a couple $100 and that lasts you a while.
Yeah.
You start talking about 70, 80, 90 snakes. I mean, you're talking about spending $400 a month easily.
I think we hit about 20 snakes.
Yeah.
And we were like, something's got to change. We have to do something.
Yeah, I'm right on that edge right now.
We were at
about 30.
No, we were at almost 50. we were at between 40 and 50 before we finally started breeding our own.
Yeah. It becomes a stretch because that number, like when like as I'm placing frozen thawed orders now, I'm like, fuck, that's a lot. It's a lot of money. And that's not, and I'm going to have to do this again in like a month and a half. Like, oh my God, my orders usually last me about 6 weeks and it ain't cheap. And then like you guys said, the quality is like, no matter who I'm ordering through, I'm always like, there's always a couple rodents here or there. And I'm like, I don't like the look of that thing, and I paid money for that. And I don't know why it looks the way that it does, but it's questionable. It's not a comfortable thing. Like you guys said, the money that I've invested in these snakes, I want them to be happy and healthy and know what's going in and what's going out.
Yep.
Bradley, what were you gonna say before though?
Yeah, man, that's actually what I was fixing to go into was, breeding rats. Like my recent thing that, I've been focusing on more than anything is the rat colonies and the rat collections. And we're absolutely loving it. Like, it is work, don't get me wrong,
Sure.
but like we love it. And it's been an emotional thing because I don't feed anything live. I haven't fed anything live in 18 months up until we had like one little pinky that just wasn't going and I fed it off to the house snake. And man, like I told Zach, like it hurt me, like it hurt my heart, but like it's a completely different feeling knowing everything that's going into your rats that's going to go into your snakes.
Mhm.
Like I know that my rats are hydrated. I know that my rats are getting good food. I know that they're getting and Katie and Lainey play with them like they're pets. So like Katie spends all day like feeding them little sprigs of broccoli and just like hanging out with them, and they're exercising. So I know their muscle structure's good. Like it's a good feeling to know at any time I can have what I need to feed my animals. Like,
Yeah.
And same here. I mean, Casey and all three kids, are constantly playing with rats and picking holdbacks, and it's like,
Yeah. Sometimes though, it's rough because you'll get the kids that are like, "Oh, I want this one, and I'm gonna name it this." I'm like, "That's food.
Let's not do that." Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's like, nope, not that one. Pick a female, and you can keep the female. That's
right.
A male. It's getting eaten by something
for a while, anyways. Yeah. I told Bradley when he started, I was like, man, good luck, because I told him when I was early on, when I was my ex and I were still, we had maybe 7 snakes I think at the time, and we decided we were going to breed our own. And honestly, my intention was to have that as a side business, was to produce rodents, because nobody in the Charlotte area, as far as I'm aware, is actually producing for sale. And I literally, I think we had like 2 litters, and I couldn't, like, emotionally I couldn't do it. And a large part of that was because we didn't really have to, we had all of our snakes ate frozen. We had only like 7 animals. I was like, I'd just rather spend the money on frozen thawed. Like, it's just not worth it to me, And then also on top of that, having that few animals, I was already seeing that I was like, we're gonna be overproducing. Like by next month, like we're gonna have way too many, and it just stressed me out. I was working 2 jobs at the time and doing that, and then feeding off these little babies that I grew up from these little things that I held in my hands, and then just dropped. I couldn't do it. I'm a big soft.
I have made comments to a lot of people that breeding rats is nothing like breeding snakes. Like those rats are gonna go, man. There's little baby rat. They're coming quick. We went from a very small amount to a significant amount real quick. and snakes, you'll get 1 clutch a year out of that female, and if you're doing colubrids, you might get 2.
Yeah, but, and there's time to plan for that stuff.
Every
right?
21 days, them baby rats they're coming.
They're coming. we have 2 colonies of ASFs, and oh my gosh, we are finding out that like they breed even more than like our rats.
Okay.
We are overrun with ASFs at the moment.
See, I've been hearing more and more people talking about switching to those exclusively. What are you guys' thoughts on that?
We're yes and no.
One of the reasons I don't like ASFs exclusively, and actually probably the only reason, is they're so much more. They're just more feisty.
Yeah, like, I keep hearing that. Yeah.
If I forget one of my rats, or if we miss, like, we feed and we check tubs, and a snake is cuddled up with a rat, and we don't notice that the rat's still in there, which has happened.
Yeah.
I know in 2 days if I go back, well, not know, but I can be pretty confident that in 2 days, if I go back and I'm like, holy shit, how did we miss that rat? That my snake's going to be fine because my rats are awesome.
Yeah.
They've got 3 kids that play with them, and They're
you know,
just anything
Yeah.
that bites, chews, they're gone. We keep that out of
Right.
our line.
You guys call the stuff that has an attitude.
Call the
and that-
aggressiveness.
We
Call
just-
the
For
just
sure.
last week feeding, we had a snake that hit a rat for a day and a half, and
Wow.
was in there, and I heard it. I heard it, and I'm like, I asked her, I was like, did you feed anybody today? And she's like, no, not today. I haven't fed since like a day and a half ago.
Yeah.
I was like, somebody's got a rat. So, going through and pull it up. Oh, there's a rat chilling there, just hanging out. next to
Yeah,
the
but
snake.
everything was fine. Yeah. Whereas,
yeah.
so you guys are thinking
everything's
that
fine.
maybe if it had been an ASF, it would have been a shit show.
And that's
yeah.
just it. They're, and just in general, they're more.
Well, that too. And then with the ASF, not every state,
Right.
they're not legal in every state. So
Yeah.
I think
They're more nimble.
Yeah.
So even
Yeah.
just feeding, like snake hits it and coils it. They're just nimble.
Could go
they're,
bad.
They're feisty, man.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think for me, the biggest deterrent, and I hadn't even thought about that, like the ad, because I've not experienced it, I've not really dealt with them. My biggest thing was like, I don't want to feed these things exclusively because I don't want my customers to get a baby that's only ever had an ASF, which is, again, like you guys said, it's not available everywhere. Some states it's illegal. It's more complicated. I don't want my customers to have a snake that, that won't eat for them because of that. And I feel like customers won't buy from somebody who, when they know that they only feed ASFs, it's like, oh, well, I'm not going to buy from that guy because I don't want to risk it that my snake's not going to eat because I know it only eats these things. So
before we bred them and all that, that was actually for one of the purchases that we wanted to make a snake that we wanted. We didn't purchase it because that's what it ate.
Yeah.
Oh, GHI.
Yes.
Yeah.
GHI
And so, yeah. So that's why I was asking the question. I was kind of curious because again, it's something I've thought about doing for myself just because I've got a couple picky eaters. I'm sure if I've just fed live to everybody, they would eat fine. I have one male that's a pain in the ass. He's a jerk.
We feed live and we still have picky eaters.
Sure. That's going to happen.
But the ASF right now, since we're still like growing them up and getting started, our picky eaters get them. And that's most of our...
And they eat pretty well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good to know.
I've asked a couple people that have been on here. We asked Kivas Feaster when he was on here because he produces both rats and ASFs. We talked to Dylan when Dylan was on here.
Yep.
What's your guys' take on the nutritional value just between the ASFs and the rats? Do you have any big ideology or knowledge even that you've studied on just the nutritional value difference between each one?
Not necessarily. I've never really looked into the nutritional value. I'm sure he's done a little more, but
again, being as we don't feed ASF very much, but I can't really speak knowledge on it. But from people I know that do, like Brandon at Oodles and Noodles, the nutritional aspect of it and the growth rate is supposed to be substantially better. Now on the same note, though, I know I've got females that have put on 400 grams in just shy of 2 months on rats.
Yeah.
So
right.
And, that's just once a week feeding, and
I think a lot of it also has
stuff
to do with what you're feeding, what's going into your rats.
Oh yeah,
100%.
Like gut loading.
100%.
Yeah, and it's talked about a lot with with insects. Like you gut load your insects. Like like your bearded dragons, like they get their nutrients from their bugs, and their what their bugs eat is what your bearded dragons are eating. And it's not talked about a lot with snakes because everybody's just like, oh, I feed frozen thawed or I feed live. Yeah, well, where do you get your live? Like, what are they eating? And are these healthy animals? And I've been talking a lot about this, and Bradley, you know this, and I've talked about it on other streams, so I don't want to dwell on it a lot, but just the idea that a lot of these rats that a lot of these high production companies are working with are tremendously high carriers of cancer. And it's a known proven fact, that, if you are feeding cancer ridden animals to other animals, the cancer rate in those animals increases. I had a retic that died from cancer, very young. He wasn't even 3 years old. And so it's something I'm much more hyper aware of now, having kind of dealt with that. And having dealt with it now, I've had more and more people reach out to me like, oh, I had that happen in this animal and this animal and this animal. And then I started looking into it, and it's like, oh, well, lab rats are basically clones of one another, because that's for a good reason. Like, for studies, you need your study animals to be as identical as possible.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, okay, and they don't care if they have cancer or not. Like, it doesn't affect the studies necessarily, based, depending on what the study needs. And so, yeah, there's this whole rabbit hole you can fall down with stuff like that. And so, yeah, I've just been, the more I think about it, the more I want to lean towards just the self-production of rats, and just having as many bloodlines as I can, and just really leaning into that. So no, I love that we brought this up. So it's an important topic. I don't think it's discussed enough.
Yeah, and real quick, I just want to address some chat going on. Madonna was asking what ASFs are, and I told her, and she said it. So it's kind of like the filet mignon of rats. Well, really, with ball pythons, it's their natural food.
Yes.
Like, it's what if you were in Africa where ball pythons come from, that's what they would have regularly to eat. So in captivity, if you have that picky eater ball python, which everybody's been through the picky eater ball python, everybody's been through the 1,000-gram wall, it happens, or getting a female back on food after she's laid eggs,
or a male that's breeding and don't
whatever your situation
any number of reasons that these bastards don't want to eat,
that these damn ball pythons won't eat.
They're just not in the mood. They're just like, this week I want something different.
Anyways. If you offer that ASF,
you fart too loud in the reptile room, and 15 snakes don't want to eat.
Right. But yeah, Madonna, if you offer that ASF, a lot of times you can get those picky eaters to.
There's just something about that instinct that kicks in of
it's inherent.
They're genetically wired that like, oh, this is my food source. That's what I want. Yeah, this is the same as.
I've had picky eaters turn their nose up to the ASF as well.
Oh sure. Mm-hmm. Oh sure, absolutely.
Yeah, most definitely. I've had snakes that I made the mistake when I was younger, first getting into keeping, and all I could find at the time was mice, and I would feed them mice. And when the snakes got older, I couldn't get them on rats. And like now I start, like, my hatchling ball pythons get rats right off the bat. Yeah. Like, there's no such thing as a mouse coming into my ball python. Like,
you've never smelled a mouse. Yeah. You're not aware of a mouse.
Because
mice
of that.
Don't exist. Yeah.
Like, I had a probably close to 3,000-gram female that I would have to choo-choo train mice down all the time, because she just
drive me nuts.
It was insane. I hated it. Like, it was horrible. Everybody else is smashing rats, and this one snake, you gotta, and don't feed your ball python mice, guys.
If you can avoid it, unless they're just not eating. Yeah, if you can avoid it. I've got a freaking breeder male that I know all he wants to do is breed. He's been off food for 13 weeks now. He will not fucking eat. He's eaten frozen thawed for me one time in his entire life, and he's just a bastard. And but I know I'm gonna have to throw him either a mouse or a ASF. I'm gonna go with the ASF first and just hope that he don't stick. Yeah, I'm gonna do what I have to do.
Just shove a rat up the mouse or ASF's ass.
Yeah.
Just train it right down.
Like, hey man, you remember this? This is the good stuff. This is what you're supposed to eat. Yeah. Yeah, he's pissing me off, but he's giving me some babies, so I can't complain too much. But
yeah, no.
Guys, I want. Go ahead. Casey,
go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna transition into some of our segments that we do.
I was literally just gonna bring that up.
Go for it.
Okay, if you want to finish that last thought, please.
No, I'm good.
Feel free. Okay, so every week, guys, we do a couple segments, and the first one, and I'm glad there's two of you this time, because it just gives us way more information and way more stuff. This is some of my favorite. Mine and Zach both. This is some of our favorite stuff to do every week, because it has absolutely nothing to do with reptiles, but it's fun, and everybody always gets awesome answers. So this week, your band or musician of the week. It can be somebody from way in the past, somebody you're listening to right now. Anybody you want to bring up, just a band or musician. It could be your friends. We'll shout your friends out. Like anybody, whatever music you think our people should listen to.
I don't know that any of our friends are that cool. That's
something you listen to the car in the car on the way down. Korn. That was probably your kids' stuff, if I had to guess.
Korn for you.
Yeah, Korn.
Okay.
All right.
I appreciate that. Blind is still one of my favorite songs, and I still think has like the greatest buildup of like anything modern, like to this day.
Well, I mean, and that song, just that song in particular, Blind, I remember like the first time I heard it, like hearing that bass line come in between the, that opening da-da-da-da, and then the do-do-do-do, like that when it starts hitting that, like
that layering.
Like it's just charging up. Like,
and there's something about like, if you know nothing about music, you don't realize the way things layer. And so hearing them like really place emphasis on that. And again, that's just one song, and they've got a ton that are amazing. But that song just always sticks in my head, man.
It was actually my first concert too when I was 15.
That's awesome.
By myself too. I went by myself. I got dropped off. It was
that's killer.
Mike and Ike's Sick and Twisted tour. So it was Stained and Korn.
Hell
okay. Yeah. I actually remember that tour.
That's killer.
That was badass.
Love it.
What you got, Casey? Go ahead.
Me? Let's see. When on the way down here, I was jamming out to some Maren Morris.
Okay, I'm not familiar with that.
Yeah, you're gonna have to educate us.
And don't take that as a judgment, because it's not a judgment at all. That's why we love these segments. I love
we really do love
stuff
this.
from people.
She's like a I wouldn't say like new, but she's like up and coming country artist.
Okay.
What does she sing? What's her popular song, honey?
She sings a lot.
What's her?
And it's Maren. It's Maren, Bradley. If you want to look it up, I just pulled it up on Spotify.
Yeah, I was writing it down right now so I could check it out after this.
Songs that like I like. Why
I can tell you her top 5 on Spotify, and you can tell me if one of them's the one. So
I'm really bad with song names.
You got The Middle, The Bones. The Bones also. The Bones. I was gonna say there's 2 versions of The Bones on here, so I figured that was maybe it was it. And then Line by Line, and then Chasing After You. I'll have to check it out.
The Bones.
It's literally my ringtone for you.
That explains so much.
Yeah, you're doing exactly what we want. Like you're opening up and telling us that that's the ringtone. So now we get to read into that after we listen to the song.
Right. I'm going to look up the lyrics right now and be like, okay, I get it.
All right, Zach.
It's The Bones is like a love song.
Okay.
A lot of times, man, people like I like country music, so I'll dig it. Like
I used to hate it.
Honestly, when I was younger, I hated it too. And
I don't beat people up for listening to country anymore.
Yeah, dude, I was the same. Like, I named my daughter Lainey after Lane Staley from Alice in Chains. I have a CFH Cowboys from Hell tattoo on my head. Like, I'm a metal guy for sure, but I've grown to appreciate country as I got older.
Yeah, for sure. It becomes more about like the lyrics, I think, as we get older. More about the message and the feeling that we get from things, and so yeah, no, we're on the same page there. And I liked country when I was a kid. Like my favorite songs when I was a kid was like The Thunder Rolls from Garth Brooks. I used to ask my dad to
Rodeo
play it again.
90s.
So like I loved 90s country. 90s country was good. I hated country after that because it was just like I grew up on 90s country and everything after that sounded totally like trash, and so I'm still stuck on that. But as I've gotten older, I've gotten into like the Tyler Childers and the stuff like that, and kind of gone back. So
yeah.
Man, bringing up Garth Brooks, I've been to a lot of concerts in my day. Like I've been to a lot of shows. Like I love live music. That's probably my biggest complaint about COVID is no live music. And,
yeah, man.
Garth Brooks is top 3 all-time favorite shows I've ever seen.
Yeah, you've mentioned that before.
Yeah, like
I
that
love
dude. puts on a hell of a show. Like
a literal show. And that's
yeah,
just
dude,
it.
it's
not
great.
just going up
2.5
playing music.
and
It's a show.
man, it's that atmosphere because every person next to you knows every word to
That's what I'm
every
gonna say.
song, and
Yep.
like you know, it's great. If you
That's how
ever get a chance to see Garth Brooks, go see Garth Brooks.
Yeah, that's how Hatebreed always was for me, man.
I was
Everybody
gonna
in the
say,
crowd.
that's like any metal show. Like
Yeah.
you know,
Everybody knows every
everybody's
word.
going along.
And there's just something about that validation and the feeling of like thousands of people around you are as just like into, and it doesn't matter what genre it is, country, metal, whatever. Thousands of people around you are into and experiencing the same emotion and feeling as you and belting it out with no shame, you know, just in unison. It's magical. So
Zach,
yeah.
we need to get Jamie Josta on here.
Dude, I would fucking shit my pants if Jamie Josta got on here. I've been within this close of Jamie Josta, a couple times. Like literally, what I saw the last time I saw Hatebreed was at this tiny venue. Like there's a venue in Charlotte that's split, and they have a big venue attached to a small venue. And Hatebreed played the small venue with Terror, and this tiny little venue, and I'm right at the stage. And they're talking about how like, yeah, we've been doing this for 30 years, and the like guitar player or the bassist one like had just had a kid, and like this other thing, and I'm just like, I've been listening to these guys since the 90s, like this shit's still going. And I was literally like, within arm's length of Jamie Josta and stuff like that. But it was special. It was special for sure.
I think I've seen Hatebreed at one of the Metallica tours that
I believe it.
went to.
Yeah,
So,
and that's for everybody. That would be
Summer
super.
Sanitarium and the Tattoo the Earth tour, which Slayer was at Tattoo the Earth.
Yeah. Yes, I saw Slayer for their their farewell tour, which I guess is now officially their farewell tour. I kept thinking they're gonna come back, man. They're full of shit, and that was mostly from the fact that they did their farewell tour basically twice, because like they came through Charlotte 2 times on the farewell tour, which I appreciate. I appreciate that they extended it for people that didn't get to catch it the first time around and all that. But yeah, I saw them with Lamb of God, Testament, who else was there? A few different people. It was amazing. Absolutely the greatest show I've ever seen in my life. But my go ahead.
I was gonna say, I've only been to metal shows other than when I took her to a punk, like.
Don't be ashamed, man. What was it?
No,
we keep it real. What was it?
Judge you.
I made him take me to Taste the Chaos tour.
She didn't make me. I was nice and got her tickets to surprise her.
To clarify,
dude, I literally went to a New Edition concert like 2 years ago, and I danced in the rows the whole way. Like, there's nothing that anybody can say that they should be embarrassed of on this show when it comes to music.
No, and I wish I got to see more of like metal shows, because he's taking me to see like Disturbed and El Nino and Godsmack with Metallica.
Where in the fridge was my drink?
I don't know.
If you guys need to pop out for 2 seconds, it's not a big deal. Whatever you guys
definitely not a big deal.
He's just being obnoxious because we're doing this.
Okay.
And we told him that we were unavailable.
Okay, I just didn't want you guys to feel like you had to, be held hostage. But no, you guys are
it's
fine.
Logan. He's 11. He's self-sufficient for that.
Okay,
He can figure out
good.
where his drink is.
He's fine then. He's fine then.
Yeah.
No,
I mean, I haven't really. I'm trying to think. I don't even know when the last time I went to a live show was. I don't do crowds well anymore, so.
Yeah, I get it.
Kind of keeps it from me.
Disturbed was our last show.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, it can be tough. So,
Zach, so you want to go ahead and drop your
yeah,
your band
man.
of the
So
week?
mine is it's one, like, I don't know how I didn't hear about these guys sooner, and they have like gone super internet viral. And don't take that as judgment if you haven't heard of them. But they're called To Prevail. They're a Russian metal band. And their lead singer is one of the most talented human beings I've ever heard in my life. In terms of just his guttural, deep vocals.
Give me an example, like Phil Bozeman, or
yeah, he's. I was gonna say he's like up there with the Phil Bozeman. You may have seen videos of them going around. They wear these crazy masks that are like gold, like these demon masks with these like crazy like jaws. And they wear them when they perform. The song that went super viral for them, it's called Demolisher. And dude, literally, like it's one of the, like when you look it up on YouTube, you're gonna see like vocal coach reacts to Demolisher by Slaughter to Prevail. Like it's stuff like that. And this guy's literally like he's like unless this is like computer adjusted, like auto tuned to sound this deep, he's like, I legitimately don't know how this dude is making those tones. But then he's like I'm looking at him and he's like his chest cavity is massive. Like he's a big Russian guy. And he's just like he's
so
like,
maybe some type of resonance in his chest.
It's just deep growl, man. Like it's I'm telling you, there are songs that give you an adrenaline rush and raise, like I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it. That song, I'm telling you, you will thank me for hearing it the first time. The first time I heard it, I thought I would like cry. I thought I would scream. Like I had goosebumps. Like it is like a life-changing song. Like one of the greatest metal breakdowns I've ever heard in my life. The drums are insane. I mean, you can literally listen to it on repeat. Yeah, Alex Terrible. Nathan, thank you. And he also does like all sorts of just like crazy. He's a really good at marketing himself. He does all these crazy covers of like Christmas songs and crazy stuff, but he does them with these guttural, deep, crazy vocals that he has. And yeah, he's a super talented guy, and they're an extremely talented band. And I can't wait for that album to drop because it has not come out yet. But Demolisher was the album that came out with, and I'm telling you, the video, every bit of it, they knocked it out of the park. It's one of the best like metal performances and metal drops in terms of video performance, everything that I've seen in many years. It was exciting to see. So
yeah.
DM me that after this because
I will. I absolutely will.
And we have a joint one that we'll say.
Yeah, please.
Just because we were talking about that 90s country, and you guys will, if you like that stuff, you'll have to hear this. They do this cover for Thunder Rolls. They're called State of Mind.
State of Mind.
State of Mind, I'm sorry.
And No Resolve.
Okay.
It's a joint thing.
So you had my attention at Thunder Rolls. That's like one of my favorite songs. It's still one of my favorite songs of all time.
It's like country meets like metal, and it is spectacular.
It has 1.6 million plays on Spotify, and it's the number one thing listed on their Spotify channel.
Yeah.
But they also have a second song that has 20. I was gonna say their second song listed is called Rise, and they have almost 21 million plays of that. So they're clearly pretty legit.
Yeah, and they do a bunch of covers, but they also have their own original stuff too. But
yeah,
we were pretty impressed by it.
Love it.
Yeah, I'll definitely check that out. So my band of the week this week, I used to listen to them a lot, like when I was younger, and I hadn't even heard one song from them in years. And a friend of mine posted them on Facebook this past week. And if you guys haven't ever heard of the Union Underground, like the Union Underground, it was right in that Stained era, but it was a little bit heavier. But their lyrical content is really intense. Like they have very good allusion to stuff, and it's the content matters really heavy. And like you really have to think about it when you're looking into it. But there's the name of the album is South Texas Death Ride.
I know sounded that. really familiar.
They're a great band.
Yes.
Yeah, I've heard of them for sure. I'll have to pull them back up.
Now I'm like, what did they sing? Because I know the band.
Yeah, as soon as you said, I was like, I was nodding. I'm like, I know that, but I can't like remember the name of any particular song or whatever.
Yeah, and like I said, it had been a while since I'd listened to them, but man, it really, when I saw that buddy of mine post them on Facebook, I was like, oh shit, I used to love them.
Right.
Went back and started listening to them.
Yeah, we all have those moments. Hell, we've had those moments even in these things where like a guest will bring up a band. I'm like, fuck, I love that band. I totally hadn't listened to them in 10 years or whatever. And that genuinely is why, like, this is Bradley and I's favorite segment. And honestly, I think from just based on the comments that we see and the messages we get afterwards, like, usually this is like our most popular segment that we bring up. I get people messaging me later in the week. They're like, man, I've been listening to this band all week because you guys brought them up. So it's always cool.
So,
and go ahead.
I was gonna say, so to expand on that, I'm just curious. Obviously, you've both been to, plenty of live shows from the sounds of it. Favorite act live?
Oh man. So this is gonna be a two-part answer. And it's because of two completely opposite reasons. So
give top three. Let's give top three.
Okay. Top three. Number three, I'm just gonna say Garth Brooks, just because his show was fucking amazing. And his energy. Number two, and these are no particular order, 1 and 2.
Sure.
So Through the Eyes of the Dead, because it's a really heavy metal band that a lot of people don't even know who they are. And when I showed up, there was 12 people at the show, and the band shut the doors, shut down the bar, was like, y'all are drinking and hanging out with us, and did a 4-hour show, just made it into like a private party. And this was a band that I was just obsessed with. So it was great to hang out with them. And, number one, Children of Bodom, because neoclassical metal is extremely difficult to play. And those guys were 100% on point. They sounded just like it was playing it off of a CD. And they're amazing musicians, beautiful. And that show that they were at was just a crazy good show, because it was God Forbid, Municipal Waste, Children of Bodom, As I Lay Dying, and Lamb of God at one show. So it was just fucking insane. I went home missing a shoe,
nuts.
missing a sock, missing a shirt.
The fact you were able to go home based on that lineup is a privilege.
Well, and after the show was over, like, I was looking for Katie and I couldn't find her, and she was over there taking shots of Jaeger with Roop Latvala from Children of Bodom, and he doesn't speak English. Like, he speaks Finnish only, and Katie's just over there hanging out with him. And like, me and my buddies are looking for her. We're like, oh my God, we lost Katie in the middle of Dallas. And
she's like, no, guys, it's fine. Go on without me.
She was like, fuck y'all, totally I'm hanging out. She's telling me right now she didn't know how to tell him to stay, because he doesn't miss
English.
He doesn't say reading comments and trying to talk at the same time.
He
doesn't speak English. So, she didn't know how to tell him to stay. Zach, I want to know yours, man. Top three.
So, I thank you for giving me a minute to kind of think about it. It's really a struggle for me because, I said before, like, Hatebreed I've seen them 3 or 4 times now. Every time I go, there's not a band that I see that has that much of an emotional impact on me. Like I can remember, I can still pull them up. And, if I'm having a really, really tough time, with my depression, anxiety, whatever, most of those days I can throw some Hatebreed on and I feel a little bit better, just because lyrically, like, they're very motivational. And I think that's not something that gets talked about enough, that there is a lot of metal out there that, like, as angry as it sounds, it's all super, super positive. So I think I'll throw Hatebreed up there. The reason I was hesitant to put them in there is because there's some bands that I've seen that are maybe were a better performance or whatever, but I think that my emotional attachment to them, just what it means to me to see them live, I think it's heavier. And again, like Bradley said, these are in no particular order. The other two, again, I'm gonna throw out there because emotionally they meant a lot, because these particular two are bands I'll never get a chance to see live again, or at least as far as I'm aware. And that's gonna be Slayer. I saw them one time and one time only, and I knew that it was the only. I underestimated, or I just underappreciated them in terms of their live stuff, where I made excuses not to spend the money to go see them a number of times, where I just, I couldn't afford it. Well, then when they announced the farewell tour, I was like, fuck it. I don't care if I got to put money, like, put these tickets on a credit card. Like, I think I spent like $600, my girlfriend and I, to, like, get, like, we were like 15 rows back, dead center stage, like amazing seats. We could see and hear everything. The sound was amazing, and it was one of the greatest shows I've ever seen in terms of just talent. Their sound was perfect because a lot of bands like you go see them live and then it sound nothing like the album. No, Slayer was
Like
on point.
Slipknot?
Yeah. I haven't seen Slipknot live. I would love to, just from a performance and a show standpoint. They're like Guar, like they put on a show.
Yeah.
Which is probably number 4 for me is Guar, because that was just
Guar,
fucking
yeah.
insane.
Guar's,
Yeah,
yeah.
Slipknot's great. Every Slipknot show I've been to, though, I've probably been to, I don't know, 8, 10 of them. It's
Yeah.
like the bass is always too loud, so you can't hear vocals. But it also might be that I was younger then, so I was right up in
Yeah. There's
in the
yeah.
general admission standing,
There's
right
definitely
in
a
front of the
line.
stage, because I fought my way up there. But
Yeah.
it was just always the bass. The bass was always just super high.
So
You
intense.
couldn't hear
Yeah.
vocals.
Yeah, and that's why I said there's something to be said about those like Lamb of God I wanted to put on this list because they really are like performance wise and sound wise in terms of bands that are still touring. Holy shit, man, they were fucking spectacular. But I think I would say Hatebreed, Slayer, and then the final one is a band that I legitimately can almost guarantee I will never see again. I see, people saying in the comments, like, we'll see Slayer again. I think so, Patrick. I do think that Slayer may come back and do like some like reunion tours, that type of thing. This band, I don't think will, but they're called Kill Whitney Dead. And I've talked about them before. They were my band of the week previously. Unfortunately, I missed the boat on them. They were like really huge. They're a North Carolina based band. They were huge when I was in high school. And they do a lot of stuff with like movie quotes. It's like, the like mid 2000s hardcore scene. A lot of bands did like 1 or 2 songs, like Bleeding Through did, some quotes from, Boondock Saints. These guys, literally every song has like multiple movie quotes in it, and they played music along to it. And it's just intense. But I saw them live when they did a final farewell. Like they had already been broken up like 6 years, and they got back together in their hometown of Greensboro, North Carolina, on Halloween. And so I made the trip up with my buddy Adam, my best friend, who's my best man in my wedding. I'm not married anymore, for anybody that's curious. But he was my best man in my wedding, my failed marriage. But he drove up all the way from Atlanta, and then we drove another 3 hours to Greensboro just to see them live. I got thrown out of the show before they even went on because some kid kicked me in the head, and I beat the shit out of him. I snuck my way back in. Like, so the show in and of itself was a whole experience, but just what it meant to me for the fact that I missed the boat on those guys. I was like, this is a band that hasn't released an album in 5 years. I'll never get to see them live. They're broken up. They're dead. And then I find out that, holy shit, they're doing a reunion show in their hometown on Halloween. Like the lines couldn't have, things couldn't have lined up better. And I still listen to their stuff today. Like literally today, they popped up on my Spotify, playlist or whatever. And if for anybody that hasn't listened to them, again, if you're into metal, Kill Whitney Dead is like just, they're just fucking good, man. They're just good. So that's where I would say. Yeah, I'll send you a link for sure.
Yeah, so I guess my top 3, I'd say would be third would be Seven Dust.
Okay.
LaJean Witherspoon. I mean, he's just
Yeah.
fucking.
They're super talented, super
I had
underrated.
to spit my ice that I was fixing to crunch out. I played a show and we opened for Seven Dust, and I got to hang out with LaJean, and we also opened for Seven Dust and Mudvayne, so I got to meet Chad Gray and all them, and hang out with LaJean. LaJean's one of the nicest, coolest people I've ever met in my life.
That's awesome.
So I tried to see Mudvayne on the Day Off Fest upstate in New York. And of course, Cud had some kind of vocal issue going on, like an infection, and Mudvayne wasn't there. So that was actually the main reason I bought the tickets, because I wanted to see them live. Everybody else there had already seen, Papa Roach, Slipknot, Disturbed, and I think Linkin Park, were the acts.
Yeah.
But anyway, and then the next the 1 and 2, I'd say, again, no particular order. But Korn and Disturbed, any order, because my 2 probably favorite bands, and Disturbed's show all around is just perfect. I mean, it sounds just like on an album. The energy is there. David Jermaine he just puts on a great show.
He's one of the most talented vocalists in the world. He doesn't get nearly enough credit for it.
Absolutely not.
Take shit at shows.
Yeah, and they definitely don't take shit at shows. And then Korn. I mean, again, I've seen Korn probably at least a dozen times. It's definitely my favorite band. And again, just superb shows. You just can't go wrong with it.
Well, I think those are some bands, like especially Disturbed and Korn, like they're almost like arena bands at this point. You know what I mean? Like those are those guys. Like
Korn most definitely is.
Yeah, and that's what we say. Korn especially, Disturbed, absolutely. Just in terms of their quality of sound and just the way that the production, I guess, value that goes into their shows and the way that they perform. I definitely think that's huge. Like, dude, if anybody that hasn't listened, like, I don't care if you don't like Disturbed, if you haven't seen, like, especially the live version of Sound of Silence, I love that Tom started nodding his head before I even said it because he already knew what the fuck I was gonna say. Like, that will bring you to tears. My dad didn't even know who the fuck Disturbed was. I played Sound of Silence by Disturbed, their live version that they did on Conan. I played it for him. He was in tears, literally in tears. Like, holy shit, just like goosebumps, crying with the whole thing because it's just that beautiful. And he's like, "This is a metal band." Yeah, and that's exactly it. Just these guys that got written off as like musicians or whatever. That are tremendously talented and highly trained and highly skilled, and just their aptitude for music is on a whole nother level that people don't realize. You were talking about Disturbed standing up for themselves. There's an old video that I've tried to find numerous times of Black Label Society got into a fight, beat the shit out of these kids at a festival show they were in some small like screamo band. And I guess one of the guys from Black Label Society overheard these kids talking shit about the lead singer of Disturbed and like about his lip piercings and just like, oh, these guys are fucking joke and blah, blah, blah. And this, that, and the other thing, just like really like laying into him. And they didn't think anybody could hear him. And that didn't go over so well. They fucking confronted him, beat the shit out of him. I guess one of the kids thought he was going to grab one of the dudes, leather jackets that Black Label Society wears. And he's like, motherfucker, you don't touch my cut. Like, they got really put in their place. And it was just a really cool thing to see. And God, that was probably like 2002 when I saw
Zach Wilde is a god. Just Zach Wilde was like the key of that video. He wasn't the initial person involved in the confrontation, but he certainly finished it. If anybody's interested, Zach seen it, hit me up for a good Zach Wilde impression. I've got a pretty good Zach Wilde impression.
It is pretty good. It's pretty solid. It's pretty solid. But yeah. Sorry about that, Casey. I didn't mean to run on. I you guys know that I can. It's fucking okay because
her list is limited anyway. So.
My list is very, very limited.
It's quite all right. No judgment.
So I haven't been. For instance, we haven't been to a show since like I think early 2007. So
that's even better. It's more relevant, at least to me, because I'm like, those are the bands. Like, pretty much anything that's happened after that, I don't really care about anyway. Like, obviously, none of the bands we've talked about started post 2007 clearly, so you guys are safe.
Yeah,
but go ahead, let's hear
I've literally
out of your like 10 bands.
I've literally been to like 3 concerts. I mean, unless we want to consider like
here, what you think, I'm gonna say something, and one that I gotta say gets an honorable mention: Drowning Pool. Before Dave Williams died, I got to see Drowning Pool literally like 3 months before Dave Williams died. And that was a spectacular show. Yeah,
I could see that. See, and that's why I love these conversations. I don't think I've ever talked to anybody or like, really, I don't think I know anybody that was able to catch one of their shows.
Yeah, I'm trying to think who it was with. I think it was
because they were a little bit short-lived. Like, let's be honest. Like their window of existence where they
still put out music, I guess.
But it's not. It's like Static X. Static X still puts out music, but
Wayne Static's dead, so it's not. Really Static.
Can we talk about Static X for 2 seconds? The fact that they replaced Wayne Static after he died with a dude who literally dresses up with zombie makeup of Wayne Static. He has the same haircut, and he puts a dead mask on that looks like Wayne Static. So it's basically like this dude pretending to be a dead Wayne Static on stage. It's creepy as fuck. I hate it.
I did not know that.
You didn't know?
I'm
Google
gonna
it.
have to
It's
check that out
disturbing.
now.
Dude, I didn't find out about this until like literally within the last year. Mindy, I think Mindy and I talked about it. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off again, but it's
all
super
good.
important. Look up like Static X, like new lead singer, and I'm telling you, it's the creepiest, weirdest shit you've ever seen in your life. Where this dude has a mask on that literally like it looks like Leatherface. Like they put Wayne Static's face on this dude's face, and he has the Wayne Static haircut, and they're still performing all the same song. It's fucking strange.
Music is a Weapon tour. That's what it was.
Yeah. Oh, Music is a Weapon. Okay, yeah. That sounds super familiar. I remember that.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know which one because I went to a few.
Yeah,
of the
Mendy.
different yearly Music is a Weapon tours, but I want to. I had to be, I guess, what 03 or 04. I guess. I think 03. I think he died in summer of 03. I don't know.
He definitely died when I was in high school. That sounds right. I was class of 06, so that sounds right.
All right, did you give us some thought?
You got nothing.
Like you said, my list is limited, and the more I keep thinking about it, like I don't know, the Taste of Chaos tour doesn't leave anybody like really standing out for their showmanship. Like
honestly, that tour sucked.
That
concert really sucked. Like there was no, like there was like energy and like, but sound just sucked.
Yeah.
And it was at a good venue. That was at
that was down in what was it?
Oh God,
that was in New Jersey.
Yeah, I know. It's a place I've been to a bunch of times. It's actually where I've seen
on the beach.
Music as a Weapon tour that we were just talking about.
Sometimes the sound guys just suck. You know what I mean? Like sometimes they don't set things up properly, and then sometimes there's not any like attention paid in between bands where different like literally you're talking about guys playing completely different instruments, and they leave the sound levels non-adjusted between bands just to keep things flowing. So that stuff always bothers me. The way that venues handle artists can definitely hurt them, which sucks.
Mm-hmm.
All right, but now.
Well, yeah, no, I think my there's really only like 3 after that, but like Disturbed and then the Metallica was actually really awesome.
Yeah,
I mean the amount of encores that they did.
How long is their set? I still have not seen them
off.
live. I'm kicking myself for having not seen them live. Every time they come around, I'm like, I gotta see them. But it's like Slayer. I know it's gonna be the same thing. I'm gonna like wait until they're like 75 years old and they're like, we're done, guys. And I'm like, okay, fine, I gotta go see them. And then maybe they won't be as good. But
dude, Ozzy's 280. He's still doing shows.
So
yeah, I know. He's doing shit with Post Malone. It's crazy.
I went to Ozfest in 03. I kept holding out on Ozfest because I was waiting for Sharon Osbourne and Korn. They had like some kind of.
I remember that. I remember there was drama, right?
And then finally they were going on Ozfest in 03. So I got tickets. I don't know. I bought a bunch of tickets. I brought a bunch of friends.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad I did because obviously Korn was there. I got to see Ozzy. I mean,
yeah.
I was always afraid that Ozzy was going to die before I got to see Ozzy. And
me too.
Now we're talking.
I don't think he can
years
die.
Later, and he's still kicking. So
he made a deal with the devil, man. It's all good.
Either that or that dude's just drank so much alcohol he's pickled himself, and like it's not possible.
Either way, I'm good with it.
That was I got to see Manson, and Manson would have been on my top 3, but I've only seen one Manson show. But it was fucking phenomenal.
I've heard that, man. Everybody I know that has seen him has said that Manson was amazing, and that Rob Zombie. I haven't seen Manson or Zombie.
I saw Zombie. That was Katie's first concert she ever went to. Yeah, like her first show she ever went to. I took her. It was Hailstorm, Shinedown, Anthrax, and Rob Zombie.
That's all, dude. That's Anthrax was who was also with Slayer when I saw. And they were great. That's awesome.
Yeah, Anthrax is just fun, man. Like Scott Ian does his little walk the whole time, and Joey Belladonna's got his big stick on his microphone.
They're just doing their thing. Fun, exactly. Man. Yeah, and they played like early. It was like still light out when they were going on, you know, and there's just this build up, you know. The way that they ordered the sets was really good because I think they played right after Testament. It was just, you know, it was a blast because the crowd was still small. The audio was great, and it was more personal, if that makes sense. You know, even though they're on a huge stage, the crowd wasn't massive, and so it was really good.
Have either of you guys ever seen Linkin Park in concert?
Yes, I have.
I did not.
Again, one of the best shows I've ever been to. Well,
I believe it.
Again, I've been to Linkin Park a bunch of times too.
I saw Linkin
A
Park
lot of
with
the same band shows because, you know, it's just what I listened to back then. But
yeah. I mean,
like,
everybody shits on new metal, man, but I kind of like a lot of the new metal stuff.
Yeah, there's something
people are
weird
still
about
trying
that
to imitate
era.
the shit, so
yeah, there's something weird about that era that caught hell, and I don't know why. Because the thing is, as many. Go ahead.
You had those old school guys that like dove real deep into like thrash, and I'm not talking about like the thrash, the big four thrash. You know, I'm talking like the underground thrash shit. And then coming out of that, Florida did the whole death metal scene, and you had, you know, those bands like Deicide and bands like Cannibal Corpse and people like that. And then, you know, you had this other movement coming out of Florida. You know, you had that Korn, Limp Bizkit type thing coming out of Florida.
Limp Bizkit was a good show too.
And that's where, you know, bands like Linkin Park and those, they kind of started. I mean, Linkin Park wasn't from Florida, but like they started.
It's a branch off that same movement. Yeah, that same movement.
And then you had like the Papa Roaches and all that stuff. And the same thing that happened with 80s hair metal happened to new metal. Like it was cool and it was something new, and then it became a cookie cutter thing. And let's stab as many bands into this and cut them all out and give them one good. And that's where new metal started getting shit on.
Yeah, the music industry fucked it up.
Yeah,
and I think it's because it was easy. It was kind of easy to reproduce, and so it was like, despite the fact that those originators, those early adopters, that those creators of this genre were amazing. Because I don't give a fuck. I'll tell anybody to this day, I love Limp Bizkit. I love Korn. Like I always will. I will always love those guys and you know, Linkin Park, all of that shit. And it's funny because as many people as I meet that want to like kind of like crack on them, when that shit comes on, they know the fucking words. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, dude, come on. You're only talking shit because it was the cool thing to do at one. Because
you're a lying motherfucker if you didn't do it all for the nookie, just like every fucking one of us did.
Exactly. Because you know, I remember there was like this transition when I went from like middle school to high school where all of a sudden like people started talking shit about Limp Bizkit. And I'm like, motherfuckers, y'all were listening to this shit a year ago with me, and y'all could fuck right off. Like it's still good, and it's still good to this day.
Yeah, 100%.
Go back and listen. Go back and listen to that shit. It's fucking good. I don't care. And Fred Durst is hilarious. If you haven't followed him on Instagram,
wild man.
Check out his Instagram. His Instagram, for I think to this day, for the longest time, I might have talked about this before. All of his posts on Instagram were old station wagons. Every image on his entire Instagram page, it was old station wagons. It was one old station wagon and then another old station wagon, like from a different angle. Like I can't make this shit up, and I can't explain it as to why that was a thing, but it was a thing. He had over 300 posts of just old station wagons.
That's so
Look it up right now. It's phenomenal, and it's like the most Fred Durst thing I've ever. I'm like that doesn't make sense, but it also 100% makes sense.
Another funny Fred Durst thing that happened recently that I don't know if it was set up or if it was a joke or whatever, or if it was legitimate, but they were doing a show, and Shaggy Two Dope from the Insane Clown Posse drop kicked Fred Durst live on stage, and like it turned into like this big fight thing. It was hilarious.
You guys probably can't see that very well, but it's literally, this is Fred Durst's Instagram, and it's old station wagons. Yeah. It's just nothing but old station wagons.
That's weird.
It's super weird.
Posse. I hate them.
It's just old station wagons. Yeah, I've never been an ICP fan. You know, I don't knock anybody that likes them. I don't understand why you like them. I don't understand the appeal.
The only thing that you can give those guys credit is they're self-made millionaire. Like, I mean, they use nothing but themselves, and like people can. I mean, their music's terrible. Like everybody knows their music's terrible, but it's the same sense as that new kid Tekashi 6ix9ine. His music's fucking terrible, but he knows the game and knows how to play the social media game, and
Yeah.
he's a millionaire because
And-
of playing. Same thing ICP did.
Yes.
I'm
And
not
I would
saying
say-
it's talent, but it is. They have a niche. They have a knowledge.
Yeah. I would say they even took it one further where, you know, at least one positive thing you say, and I don't know if it's positive or negative because their community is a little bit off the wall, but they created a community, man. Like those people that are like ICP fans, like literally like consider themselves all family. Like there's, you know,
It's
like,
like
what
a
are
cult.
they? Yeah, it's literally like, but
The Juggalos.
yeah,
Yeah.
well, the Juggalos, but there's a festival. Is it Juggalo Fest? It's not Juggalo Fest. They call it
It's something like
specific.
that. The Gathering.
Yeah, the Gathering of the Juggalos.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen it, there's a Netflix special on the Gathering of the Juggalos. It is the most mind-boggling thing I've ever watched. Like, it blows Tiger King out of the fucking water. And it's not a special specifically around this. It's a show where they go to like all these just like weird niche things, but they did an episode on the Gathering of the Juggalos. If I find it, we'll put the fucking link in the description. Tom and Casey, I will send you the fucking link if I can track it down. It is
Mindy
the most
is a juggalette, by the way. I don't know if you're seeing
yeah.
this in the comments.
Yeah, and I'm cool with that. That's why I say, like, I'm cool with it because I have, especially having watched that special, it definitely brought like a different light because I just always thought they were just like weird people. But I'll be honest, I think I remember my brother being into ICP when he was a teenager before he passed, and so I'm like, I understand that there was definitely this big movement, and there still absolutely is. And again, like Mindy said, I regret
never mind.
I don't regret my tattoo.
Never mind.
Oh, I do regret my tattoo. I read that wrong. But and I know people that do. They still have the tattoos and they're not even into it anymore. But there's just this whole community. And so again, I think despite
with the hatchet or the butcher knife,
despite how you feel
man.
about them, despite the fact that I don't think their music is very good. I think it's like anything else, man. Like if something positive came out of it, because there's people that say like this shit changed my life. Like the people I met through this community of these people like changed my life for the better. But like I loved hearing that shit. I love I don't care what it is. I really don't. Yeah, unless you're hurting people, I don't care. You know, if you were brought together, you know, with hundreds of other people and like that shit saved you from suicide or, you know, depression or just whatever, like cool. It was worth it.
I've actually been to an ICP concert, and I saw Tech Nine there, and
that's amazing.
Like Tech Nine and West Side Connection, and like, you know, a bunch of these like old school rap groups. I saw them with ICP, and like it was a badass show. Like the ICP guys, like it's different seeing them live than it is anything. Like their live show, like it's very aimed at the audience. Like I went home fucking stinking like diet root beer Faygo, but I mean it was legitimately like
plus a little bit of weed and meth, but it's all good.
But I will give it to it. Like when we were standing in line outside the venue waiting to go in, like every single person there, like I mean, they literally, if a bullet would have been fired, every one of them would have jumped in front of it for the other one.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I mean,
and that's what I was gonna say, man. Yeah.
It's a very family thing, I guess.
It's a weird thing. Yeah, it's something that they get shit on a lot, but at the end of the day, I respect the hell out of it. Just like you said, man. That's the best way it could have been put.
Yeah.
You nail on the head. I don't need to say anything else about it. You killed it.
So moving on from music, our second segment, which sometimes takes just as long, but probably won't today. We do a movie or TV show of the week, and it could be any movie. Like we have done some crazy shit on here, and I just want to say the greatest comment that has ever came out of this right here is off of last week. I said my TV show of the week was Law and Order Special Victims Unit, and we got a comment that said every time you hear that dong dong, you know somebody's booty got snatched. That was the greatest comment I've ever had.
I gotta say, because I kind of forgot about it in the moment, and if I brought it up, I forgot that I did. I was drinking that week, so I apologize if I already fucking said this. A buddy of mine, there's a running joke about the fact that apparently Law and Order, like he and his wife somehow or another, they end up getting down to fucking Law and Order. Like I don't know like what the correlation is. There was a text that was exchanged between he and some friends. They were like, Law and Order's on, and he disappeared for a while. And it was like, oh, sorry. Me and the wife were busy. And she's just like, wait, because of Law and Order? And so that's like the running joke now between us and all of our friends. Brookins, if you're watching this, I apologize, but I'm so not sorry.
So yeah, guys, whatever movie or TV show you want to shout out this week, go for it.
You don't watch a whole lot.
I'll be right back, guys. I just got to pee, but I'll be still listening.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I mean, we really don't watch a lot of TV anymore. We actually got rid of cable and stuff. So I'm even more so than her. I just don't watch it. But I'm trying to think here. I'm trying to give something.
TV or movie? You and your bad days.
Jack Ryan.
Jack Ryan.
Yeah, Tom Clancy.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. I was lost for a second, but yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's a badass show. 2 seasons so far. Should be another one sometime this year. Who knows? COVID fucked everything. So
for sure, man. That's something that we haven't heard on here before, and I actually, like I said, it took me a second to realize what it was, but then Mindy just commented. It's on Amazon Prime, and I think that's where we've watched a couple episodes, was on Amazon Prime.
I already knew that, Mindy. I already knew that Tom watched it. So, it's actually a really spectacular show too. I mean, I've always been into Tom Clancy books and stuff, and that came out, and I got hooked instantly. And it's just well done. Great action, great story.
It's so good. Jack Ryan's so fucking good.
Yeah, right.
I was literally peeing and I was muted. And I was like, I can't say anything. They can't hear me, but it's so good. Yeah, it's an awesome show. It took me a second to get into it because I think, like, if I remember right, the first couple episodes are a little slow, and then after that, I was fucking sold, man. Yeah, it's really good. It's got and I loved that they took is it Jim from The Office is the main character? Yeah, I didn't watch The Office a lot. Yeah,
however you say it.
Yeah, so he's great in that. Yeah, it's a really good one.
What about you?
Yeah,
what reality TV show garbage are you gonna give us, honey?
Well, I mean, it could literally be anything. Like, we've said movies from our childhood, and then just like, just like whatever, like something that's important to you, like whatever fucking movie pops in your head. It doesn't matter if you haven't watched it in 20 years. We don't care. Just whatever.
Movie,
show, anything.
No pornographics, honey.
It could be a fucking YouTube channel you watch every day. I mean, whatever. It's something that you're interested in.
Actually, one of my all-time favorite movies is What Dreams May Come.
Yes. Great fucking movie.
Everybody, I always say that to. Nobody's ever seen it.
Oh, great movie. Robin Williams.
It's
great fucking movie.
And it's funny because Bradley, we've talked about this. Hook is like one of my favorite movies of all time. It's like one of my favorite movies from my childhood. What Dreams May Come is probably one of my favorite, if not my top favorite, Robin Williams movie.
Mm-hmm.
It is.
I don't know, man. Patch Adams was pretty great too.
Patch Adams was great, but I don't know. There's something about What Dreams May Come that just like really hit home with me emotionally. I don't know if just like shit I fucking dealt with through my life or whatever, like, just like dealing with loss and
Cuba
stuff
Gooding
like that.
Jr.
Man,
kills it in that movie, by the way.
Dude.
Yes. It was such an emotional, like, roller coaster of a movie, and it still hits home
heavy
to this day. And
it's funny, guys. Like, I have like some weird goosebump kind of thing going on, because I was sitting there and I was imagining the scene where he's in like the underworld, the hell portion, and being dragged down, and like, that's intense, man.
Well, and I'll say this, for me too, it was an intense, extremely emotional movie when it came out, and the first time I saw it, it's just like, oh my God, and I've watched it numerous times since, and every time, it just seems to almost get heavier, you know, because you kind of have this expectation, you kind of know what's coming, but it just doesn't change it. It doesn't get boring. You never reach this point of like, oh, you know what's coming, and so it's just expected. It's always emotional, but it's taken an entirely different meaning since the loss of Robin Williams. Now you watch it back and you're just like, holy cow, because the whole suicide aspect. And Tom, I was literally just going to transition from this into talking about the movie The World's Greatest Dad, because that movie is all centered around suicide, and so there's just this recurring theme. It's the same as I feel about Chris Cornell. You go back and listen to and Chester Benningfield, or Chester from Lincoln Park. I can't remember his fucking last name, how to pronounce it. Bennington. Okay, I started to say Bennington, but I was like, fuck, that doesn't sound right either. Anyways, but those guys, you go back and listen to their lyrics and read them, and you're like, man, like, this takes a whole nother turn now that, you know, these things have happened. You know, you're like, fuck, were these guys like, you know, like reaching out for help, you know, in their own artistic way. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
I don't think I've ever seen that. I'm gonna have to check it out.
Yeah, World's Greatest. I couldn't finish the whole thing. It honestly, it made me too anxious. I couldn't emotionally deal with it myself, because I think around the time that he passed was then when they were really pushing it. I mean, it was pushed, you know, prior to that, but obviously, like, you know, they try to attach the negativity, and they really started advertising it again. And I was just like, fuck, I can't deal with this. I can't handle it. So it's a tough one, but it's really good from the bit that I saw. And obviously it's Robin Williams. I mean, he never made anything that was bad.
No,
that's just the facts. So fuck yeah, good fucking call, Casey.
Yeah, that's a great one, Casey. That's one of my favorites that anybody's mentioned so far on the
really
is. Funny that both of you guys know what it is, because a lot of people that ask me that they don't know.
You also got to take into consideration, one of the reasons Zach and I do this segment is because we're both music and movie buffs. Like we both do actually care a lot about not just music, but, you know, movies and TV shows as well. So it doesn't surprise me that Zach and I both know what it is, because like there's yet to be something that comes up that one of us doesn't know what it is. You know, like, yeah, we're pretty versed in we're just lazy fucks that watch TV all the time.
Pretty much. So, and that's not a brag by any means, but it just really is. Like, this is really the stuff we love, which is why these segments carry us for like an hour. Like, I think we started the segments at about an hour into this, and we're 47 minutes past that. And I think, you know, 30 minutes or so of that was us talking about music, because we can just do this all day. And and this is stuff where you guys see us visibly, you see us get more energetic, and because of this, we get excited about it. So we're excited that you guys brought those up, because genuinely I love that shit.
All right, Zach. So give me yours for the week.
So I'm gonna just, you know, stick to my theme, you know, of stuff where it's just stuff I circle back to, the same stuff a lot of times, and what I circled back to this week for whatever reason was Peaky Blinders, man. It's just so good. It really is. Parts of it are frustrating, because I've watched it now like 3 times or so through, and I'm watching it again now, and I'm like, that's not the fucking way they should have done that. Like, historically, like, this is the way it should have been done. Like, they would have had a sniper position at this point, and I'm just like, you start like overanalyzing and like getting frustrated, but then you also appreciate every scene. And again, it's just one of those shows that's it's so artistically well done. Every movement of every character and every motion that every actor makes, their facial expressions, every thought. Mindy said that the main character, I can't think of his name off the top of my head. I'm terrible with names. There was a meme that I saw, and I think this is what actually caused me to like, I need to go rewatch that again. They were talking about the way he smokes cigarettes is like the greatest thing you've ever seen in your life, is the way this guy smokes cigarettes. He smokes cigarettes better.
Are you talking about the guy from 28 Days Later? The
yes,
guy?
Yep, same guy from
Cillian
28 Days Later. Cillian Murphy. He's also the same guy that played the Scarecrow in the latest series of Batman movies. He's just a phenomenal actor. But he plays the greatest badass in Peaky Blinders, and I just love it. It's just the whole storyline of just this like nobody crime family that's just built around just these war heroes, or these like forgotten war heroes, right? These forgotten soldiers. That's a whole family, and them building a literal empire off of the fact that they just literally were willing to fucking die and murder for each other. Like they were willing to fight, bleed, and die for each other no matter what, and that's what led to their success. And I get a kick out of stuff like that. That show also like gives me such crazy anxiety that I have to take breaks from it. A lot of shows do that to me. And Tom, it sounds like you kind of have some similar things where like big crowds and just anxious situations and certain stuff triggers things for you. And so I definitely struggle with that. But man, if you push through it, you realize like it's at the end of it, it's just a show. And so it's like, man, if you can deal with that aspect of it, it's good. It's really, really fucking good.
I'm gonna have to check it out. I've never watched, so
yeah, give it a try.
I think you'll like it, Tom.
Yeah, you would. You absolutely would, man. Because
where do I find it?
It's available on Netflix.
Okay.
I think they have all the episodes on Netflix.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure all the episodes are on Netflix.
So it's there.
Well, that's good. It'll give me something to binge watch.
Okay,
absolutely.
So I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna stand by it 110%, and I don't care what any of you sons of bitches think about it, because this is something that I've done for all of my adult life, and it's funny that I've yet to mention this, but I had to bring up my movies first. Rad and Gleam in the Cube, my skateboarding and BMX movies and all that stuff. But my favorite TV show of all time, and every single year of my life, I watch it from episode 1 till the last episode of season 6, is Dawson's Creek. And I love Dawson's Creek, and y'all can kiss my ass if you don't like Dawson's Creek, because it's the greatest show ever made.
I have these two of my girlfriend's best friends when I was 15 years old. They were extras on that show.
Well, they're the greatest people ever. Then I want their autographs.
I will have to reach out to them and find out what episodes they're on, and I will make that happen for you, buddy.
No, man, like and it's funny.
It was huge in the 90s. It was huge in the 90s.
I was a really, and Zach, you know this, and everybody that knows me knows this. Like, I'm a very apathetic person to a lot of things. Like, the people that I love them very, very hard and very, but like, I really don't give a shit about a lot of things. Like, I don't care what goes on.
You're all or nothing. You're either all in or you're not.
100%. And I'm a polarizing person because of that. Like, and I piss people off because of that, because I really don't care. Like, if it doesn't affect me and my family, I don't care. Like, I think that politics left and right is the two birds on one wing, or two wings on one bird. I think it's, it's all bullshit. And I like what I like, and I love what I love. And Dawson's Creek's one of those shows, man, that I never would have expected to loved it. Like, I never would have thought that would have been something that attracted. I love horror movies. I like watching people get axe murdered. But dude, I love that shit. And like, I'll cry like a baby watching it, and I don't know why. But I'm not afraid to say it.
Because you're empathetic, man. We're both wired the same way. We're these guys that were like, oh, fucking, we love Lamb of God and Through the Eyes of the Dead, but then we'll fucking turn around and like cry, listen to fucking Garth Brooks. And we're like, motherfucker broke her heart, or whatever. You know what I mean? I get it, brother.
Dylan always wants to eat ramen noodles with this big fork on my wall right here. Every week.
I was going to bring that up early on about who eats with the big fork, but I just forgot about it.
Well.
We forget about it. It's like
What you don't realize is I eat meat with the big fork, and then this right here is Katie's cereal spoon. So
looks like mine.
Dylan, we appreciate you being here, brother.
Yeah, Dylan, always love it when you're here, man. So our last segment that we do, guys, and I had messaged you guys earlier about it, and this is kind of how we this is what we do, man. We come in, we highlight everybody, we talk about, you know, your guys, what you do, we talk about reptiles, then we go through our music and just kind of have a good time and laugh and have fun. And we'll wrap it up and end with your reptile of the week. It could be any species, anything you want it to be, your reptile of the week.
Doesn't have to be something you keep. It could be a goal species, you know, whatever.
We talked about it a bit at dinner, and
We can have separate ones.
I now
can.
Sure.
know that we can have separate ones. We thought we had to have the same one.
No, you can have
This sounds like there was an argument, and Tom is like looking down, like there was definitely an argument. He's like,
A little
I don't want to talk about it.
And we actually we had said, and I'm not going to change it because it's TJ's favorite. So he likes, what is it, the Bellphase lace.
Bell's lace, yeah.
Bell's Phase lace.
They're amazing.
I'll stick
MJ
with
is
that.
killing me. MJ's killing me with this baby he's got because it's so cute and it's so like,
Dude, that thing is sick.
honestly, it's super tame.
So
You're like,
cool.
I'm super impressed with how socialized it is already. That's amazing, and they're just gorgeous animals.
And I'll be honest, before everybody jumped on the Bell's Phase lace monitor, when they, you know, started everybody seeing them and they getting really popular, I don't think that just lace monitors got enough attention. You know, like everybody sees the Asian water monitors and you see the crocodile monitors, but like just the lace monitor on its own not being Bell's Phase, like, you know, lace monitors are badass animals. And then, you know, that Bell's Phase, that white and black, just had it to where, you know, it's caught so much attention because of that morph, you know, that those genetics. But I mean, they're great. They're great animals.
Yeah.
I would love to work with them myself.
So would TJ.
You guys should get him one. I mean, TJ, if you hear this, I'm gonna talk them into getting you a Bell's Phase lace one.
Hey, they can be financially viable. It's just a matter of, you know, making it work.
You send it to him, and you know we'll house it.
There you go. That goes for me too. If anybody wants to send one to me, I'll house it.
Right. Don't send me one. I don't have the room.
I don't even know.
Well, you obviously know. There was clearly an argument early on that you guys were trying to figure out what was going on.
But it's not the only thing. I mean, Super Dwarf Rejects were freaking sick.
Super Dwarf, I actually ordered 2 of them last week from Garrett.
See, we can't have them in New York, but I might, you know,
move.
Yeah, just move, man.
I might have a ball python that just looks really, really similar to a.
It's just really stretched out.
I've heard that these ball pythons are starting to take on super dwarf features.
Yeah,
so I mean, I'd back you up if I would definitely say that's a.
I just want to go out there and state on the record that Zach Nava of Nava Reptiles does not condone any of this conversation for legal precedence. This is, in the case this comes up later, I do not agree to any of
Well, if it comes up later, Bradley McEllier has it on record that he has personally seen ball pythons that have turned into super dwarf looking animals. So I'll back it up. I'll go to court for you. Fuck 'em.
There we go. And I don't know, the Boland's python was pretty sick too. So
oh man, you guys went to Nerd, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just up there in January, and those Bolins they're insane, man.
Just crazy.
Like and it's crazy. Like you know, in my video, I talk about how, you know, not a lot of people have Bolin's pythons, number one, but
that's
being able to interact with that animal and, like, you know, that look in its eyes, man, that look on its face, like it has that pit bull head, you know, that short, just broad,
yeah. like
it looks like
Python style.
Yeah. Rob just like was like going and like leaving the room and like getting random things and bringing them back, and that was one of them. And I was like, that thing doesn't look fucking happy. I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna hold it anyway.
They're kind of intimidating to look at.
I'm like
sure.
holding it, and it's like slow slithering up my arm. I'm like, this motherfucker's gonna bite me. I know it is. And so it was just chill. It was just chill.
And it's crazy, man, because just like you said, like they act weird. Like they don't really, interact with you and move like other snakes that you've messed with a lot do. You know, like they have a funny sense about them. And like looking at them with those jowls in that head, it's like, dude, if this thing bites me, it's gonna fucking hurt. And like, and it was the same way with the Papuan that they had. I don't know if you guys pulled out that Papuan python that they have, the Apodora, but man, ever since I left Nerd, that's all that's been on my mind is getting one of those Apodoras. Like I want one.
Nerd completely ruined Bradley. He's like, fuck, I gotta have one of these and one of those and one of these and one of those.
Same here,
It'll
man.
ruin anybody.
Yeah.
I mean, just the shit I got to see and like stuff that I'm like, you normally not even like
zoos don't have this shit.
And then normally I'm like, but like being there and like seeing some of the stuff they had, it was just like, damn, like.
And do you think the interaction part of it was part of what?
Mind.
Yeah. Do you think the interaction with those animals is what kind of pushed you more?
Yeah, because I mean, like again, I'm not like a huge snake person.
Yeah.
Again, I've just always ones I've seen and dealt with in the past have always been like bitey and dickheads.
Yeah, sure.
And you know, they're like, you know, he's fucking dragging this 15-foot retic out of an enclosure, and you know, it's like, you know, just it's cool.
Zero
it's
fucks
chill,
given.
It's like, doesn't care, you know, like, And I was like, holy shit, like I definitely had my thoughts wrong on these animals, like.
Yeah, I love it.
It's crazy.
And
I love hearing that stuff.
The one super dwarf, the calico cow that he brought out, the male. I was that thing. Like I would have. That's the one we were dealing with in the hallway. That was like
the one that decided that.
Yeah, that was trying to go to the candle.
Is that the mini moo or whatever?
But like it was just crazy. Like if I had the money, I would have been like trying to buy it right there. Like it was just awesome.
Well,
I was
There's only been two super dwarf cows produced in the world, and one went for 35 grand and the other one was like 25 grand. So
I don't know.
They're not,
for me, like
again, I know a fella.
Me too. His name's Garrett Hartle.
And Casey's really not like a big snake person. She's like not.
So like growing up, like snakes.
Creeped you out.
Nope.
Yeah.
Like would have told you don't even put me and a snake in the same room. Like I don't like them.
Mm-hmm.
And
but see, I love that about what you guys are doing.
Me too. I was fixing to say the same thing, Zach. That's what I love about.
It's literally all I can think
about this hobby. I love about the industry. I love about everything. Is like somebody can go from I didn't like snakes when I was a kid to you have 80 snakes in your house now. That's an awesome. That's mini moo. I got to mess with that one when I was up there too. And then I watched Kevin throw that one in with that big golden child female, and I was like, dude, that thing's too small to breed. Oh, Lilith, yeah, she's amazing.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that's
she wanted to eat us the whole time we were there in that room, man, because she was in like the party room, and like she's just watching us, like she's just like sitting there hooded the whole time we were in there just watching us.
That's the amazing thing to me about these animals, man, is that when I was growing up, I never realized that there were snakes like that were that intelligent, that were that aware, that were watching and observing, and you can see them think. Like I have it on video. I've posted it before. When I was unboxing my first retic, which was a dwarf retic from Garrett, was my first retic ever, which, you know, is crazy to think. The first retic I ever even held was a dwarf retic from Garrett, but dude, you can see it on my face. I was enamored the second that snake came out of the box. As soon as I opened it and the snake came out, I could see its eyes working and its brain thinking of like, where am I? What's going on? Like just assessing what was going on around it. And that was different than anything else I had ever dealt with in terms of animals before.
That first interaction with a retic that's not an asshole. Like the first time you get to interact with a retic that has been socialized, and it's a different feeling than you're used to, man. Like a ball python's gonna sit and it does its thing. A retic will look you in the eyes and you can tell that it's thinking, you know, like It's a different feeling.
So like when we were there, Dozer tried to eat me. I got too close to Tonka.
Every time I think of it, that's all I can hear is
and all of a sudden Rob got up and he's like, "Nope, you got to go in timeout," and he put him in the enclosure. I'm like, "Oh, what was he? Was he getting? You know, like?" He was like, "Well, he went to bite your leg. You just didn't notice it." I was like, "Oh, okay."
I'm sitting back, like filming, like laughing.
Yeah, Dozer in his timeout, and Lilith, as you see, hooded, just chilling, watching us. Like, hey,
that's so cool, man.
I'm gonna eat you.
I love it.
Yeah, Nerd
so
is
smart.
it's a very special place, man, and I'm beyond grateful for have gotten the opportunity to go up there. You know,
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
it's something I would recommend for anybody.
Anybody.
Yeah, I'll definitely be trying to get back to Nerd. Like,
have you guys been to Barczyk's place?
Not yet.
No.
It's amazing. It's awesome as well.
It's definitely on the to-do list. I kind of waiting for one of our friends to go from the West Coast, and then we're gonna try and go at the same time.
Meet up, yeah. How long did you guys say you're gonna be in Charleston?
Until
next Thursday.
We're gonna leave Thursday evening or
Thursday afternoon, probably. I don't know.
So Thursday is in March 18th.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, guys, this has been really fun to me. I'm glad that you guys. I'm glad you came on. I'm glad that you guys have had a good time. You know, this is exactly what I was saying earlier. Like, this is what Zach and I enjoy about this is, you know, we all are here because of the reptile hobby, but there's so many other things that, you know, we can sit and talk about and bullshit and have a good time and, you know, bring it back around to reptiles. And, you know, I really appreciate you guys coming on, talking, you know, sharing your story, letting us know kind of what you guys are doing, where you're headed, you know, and more than anything, what I take away from this and the number one reason I'll continue to support you guys on whatever you do is it's for the kids, for you guys. And that's what it's all about to me is, Brian Cusco, I'm always late.
Shout out to Brian Cusco.
Thanks for the support, Brian.
But, I'm glad I didn't pay anything for this shirt. I won it.
Yeah. Whatever. That Cusco guy.
I've got to order one. The kids got one. All three of the kids have one. So I gotta order myself one.
You know, I get it. He's like, listen, you know, your size costs me more. You know, you're kind of a bigger guy. You know, I can't just, you know, cut the fucking check for that.
But well worth it for the kids because the boys have been living in their sweatshirts. So
that's the best. That's awesome, and I really do. I live for this hobby, and I live for it for those exact reasons. Just you know, the interaction of just all of us. It really does. It makes me smile every single fucking day. I love it. I love to see my friends interacting with each other, supporting each other. Every bit of it just it does it brightened my day. And you know, as we started this podcast, you know, we've all had kind of a rough week, you know, in one form or another, and I'm really fucking glad that we could all end it on a really positive note. We've all gotten a lot of good laughs and a lot of smiles, I think, and I hope we take this energy forward through the weekend and through the next week. So genuinely really appreciate you guys being here and giving us your time, especially with everything you guys have going on. With the kids in the background, I know obviously you've got kids to put to bed and everything else, and we love you guys. And beautiful. Well, we love you guys, and again, just thank you so much for your time, and we'll talk to you guys soon. But this has been Connected by Creatures, and we will see you guys next week.
And thanks for having us, guys. I mean, we had a blast.
Appreciate y'all.